Welcome back to another video. It's 8:33 a.m. April 16, and we're gonna analyze my game. And black pieces here. It's 88.2 accuracy. As you can see, it's a very blunderful game. I don't know why it's that high. I maybe would have put it in like 82. It's just a very bad game for me. For me, it's a bad game. But we're gonna look at it. So the white pieces played e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, and now c3. In this game, I am very much, you know, on the edge because I don't really know about c3 and the engine ones here. Typically, you play d5 to break the center already, so that c3 d4 won't be a problem anymore. But I played one of the dubious moves, e5. It's still completely fine, but it's not really what you would expect in a Sicilian Alpine. And this is more so to shock the opponent, but he didn't even play what I was thinking for. Like seriously, he played such a move that I was like shocked. C4 was what I was expecting. That's why I played a6. I mean, it's still fine. Bishop c2, castles would have been better. Now b5. My first mistake in the game. This is an inaccuracy for the reason that d4 could just happen, and I cannot let that slide. Let's say I play this, I can't let that slide because that's just a free pawn. I can't take the pawn, and he can just continuously defend it. That's why I gotta take it. C takes d4. C takes d4. Pawn takes. Knight takes d4. And something like knight takes d4, queen takes d4, and queen to b7. Queen to c7. Knight c3, and then bishop b7. It's a harder game for me as my king side is just stale. It's just stagnant, and I can't castle the queen side because it's very open, and I could easily get skewered, and the line of attack is just completely there, so I can't really do anything about that. I also have my own engine here. Say that after d4, c takes, c takes, knight takes. This would have been the best line, very much. And something like this is very hard to see. But he didn't even play d4. He did d3, consolidating, I think, for him. d6, bishop e7 was much better, preventing the knight to go to g5, and or bishop to go to g5, bishop e3, bishop e6, and now I'm casting kingside. Knight f6, d4, and now he starts to break the center. And after c takes, there I played knight b4. My second mistake. It's a mistake because, as you can see, the best move here. Wait, let's go to the best move. The best move here is bishop to b3. Let's say I just let that slide. Well, there's d5, and you say, what? What's the point of that? I could just go back here or go to bishop to b4. But after that, there's a3. And the square that was earlier could have been jumped by the knight. Let's say I played the white position played something like after bishop h3 he played this move. Well, this bishop takes, queen takes, and now knight c6, and then black is completely much better. But after, let's say after, you play d5. Not only did you attack the bishop, but you took away the c3 square the c6 square that was for the knight to jump on. Now a3 after knight c6, it is just completely free. This is the this is the best line, and as you can see, it's just very much winning for white. But he didn't even say that. So yeah, that it didn't even happen. We're just looking at the variations, and if you say I play bishop takes b3, queen takes, knight c6, it would have been a much easier game. But there, he had to find a4. and I can't take that because there's queen takes e4, and that would just be a pin, a very harsh pin to be exact. b4, now d takes, and a5 now visually it's a much more better game for white, and the engine does not lie. It is a much better game for white. As after bishop e7, it's a much harder game. After queen c4, it's something like rook to c1. This pressure, and since I haven't castled, I will take one more move to do castling before I could even be reading, and after that I would have been down a pawn or two pieces for a knight, something like that, something along those lines. And another line that we haven't seen is knight takes, and after that there's d5, bishop f5. It's a much more like the first line we look. There's a3, but there's knight d3, and after queen takes d3, knight to g3, queen d2, knight takes f1, king takes f1, and it's +1 +2 for white, because it's 6 pieces versus 5, and 2 is better than 1. That's the general consensus of it. But he blundered. He didn't even play what we were talking about. He took the pawn. D takes c5 was played. It's a miss. It's a very bad miss. And after d takes e5, knight takes e5. I missed the winning move here. The winning move here is not queen takes d1, but queen to c7. After queen to c7, it's much an easier game. As if I try to save the knight, here's knight takes e2. So you don't have to save. You don't need to take the knight. You don't want to save the knight, as the rook would be also defenseless, defenseless. So you gotta sacrifice the knight after queen takes c2, bishop to d4, and something like queen to c7, knight d5, and you gotta take. Oh, oops, you gotta take. He takes, and then something like knight takes d5. Things like that. I can't actually do that, but things like that. You get the gist of it. I missed that, and after bishop takes d1, I played knight takes e4. That's a kind of bad move, but he didn't even play the best move, which was bishop f3, pinning the knight to the rook. And the game would have continued in such a way. Wait, let's see. In the engine, I've already prepared this line. That after bishop to f3, there is bishop d5, rook to d1, and then knight f6, and knight to c3. Knight bishop takes, knight c2, gotta save the rook, and then takes, and g6. What a line, right? But that did not happen again. That did not happen. As after playing f3, I played bishop c5. It would have been better to play knight to d5, trying to trade the bishop for the knight. It's an open game, and I could have had the bishop pair, but I took, and after a3, knight bd3, knight takes d3, and then knight takes d3, and b4. Here, the best move is king to e7, not casting. King to e7. Now, I want to preach something about this. King to e7 is better for the sole reason that somewhere along the endgame, you will need that one move of extra tempo to get to the enemy pawns, or to maybe shoulder the king and take the enemy pawns still, or to at least, or maybe, most likely, direct your pawns and just march with the king and be unbothered by the white king. Things like that. It's much better. But it's also hard to identify that the king is safe. As after king to e7, white could just play f4, and engine says it's completely fine after g6, bishop to f3, rook a c8, e4, knight takes b4, a takes b5, a takes b5, rook a7 check, king to f6, knight a3, bishop to c4, rook b1, knight d3, and rook to d7, knight takes, knight takes, and something like this. That's the best move. Anybody could make a mistake, so that's the idea or the analogy of it. Also, after king to e7, white could just play knight to c3, and all would have been fine. So before, casting kingside, and now bishop to c2, and accuracy, knight c3, and such better. Try to develop, and now rook a d8, I should have just moved the knight, and now rook d1, another inaccuracy for white. At knight c3, just developing is much better. Knight f4, moving the knight from the pressure of the bishop and then the rook, and the blunder of white for white is knight d2. Can you find the winning sequence? It's a very easy sequence. The move is knight to do the e2 check, and now after king to f2, there's knight c3, and if you remove the rook, not only will the knight fall, but also the bishop. So you can't really do that. Bishop e3, knight e4 was much better. Being down quality is much better than losing full piece, to be honest. But it's fine. You're still losing. I'm still gonna win this. Now after that, bishop c4 was played by me. To c4, b4 was much better. And now after that, takes d1 check. Rook takes d1. Rook takes d1. Bishop takes d1. Knight. Bishop b takes c4. Bishop e2. I should have played something like rook to e8 check. And in this line, of course, I can't leave my bishop. So let's say I play king to d2. There's c3 check. After king to c king what's the move this king to d3, there's c2, and you will be forced to go away. So you have to play king f2, c3, bishop to d3, and something like rook to c8. Yeah, something like that. This is easily winning again. But I didn't play that. I missed that. As I said, like I'm winning. I don't really need it. So king to d3 was played. Again, this would have been much harder. Let's say at the engine, as this would have been very, very, very much harder if he had played the best move there. Let's say bishop takes a6 for to happen. I would have played rook to a8, rook to a8, bishop to d3, rook takes a3, bishop to c2, and something like king to the f8, king to d4, king to e7. You can't go here again. Just rook a2, and you're gonna succumb to the rook. So you gotta keep supporting your bishop. King to d4, king to e7, b5, king to d6, rook to king to c4, and something like h5. Now you can't really move anything else. If you move your rook, you're gonna be losing, or it's gonna be drawish. It's gonna be much harder. So h4, f4, h4, king to king there, rook a2, king takes, and now king c5, king c4, rook a1, bishop d3, rook g1. Of course, you gotta defend. You can't push because it's gonna fall. Because there's pawn on h4, and after bishop to e4, rook to e1, bishop c6, h3, breaking the position up, g takes, rook to f1. Why not this? Because king can move forward, and that is much more important. It's much more important to attack the stronger pawn than both the weak pawns that's in the corner. Now after h4, rook takes, bishop there, rook takes h5, takes, rook check, king move, and now king takes pawn. Rook here, and then takes, king move, and then rook to e4, and something along those lines. Still, oops. And you can still push still. You just have to attack the bishop and try to create attacks. Very dubious, huh? I don't know the general idea of this. I think I see it now. Instead, you keep forcing the king to the back. Oops. to the back. And when you do force him, it's very much easier to win. G1, rook here, bishop here, and then here, bishop here, here, and then something like this. Check, takes, and it's winning. So we saw that, right? I'm just gonna analyze that later. But he didn't even play the best move. King to D, King to D3 was played. Now after rook e8, you have to get your bishop back. As if you neglect it, there's c2 and king takes, rook takes. Now after bishop d1, rook d8 check, king to c2, and the best move, rook to d2 check. It's a fork. If you take the pawn, I'll take the bishop, so you gotta go back to king to c1, rook takes b2, h4, rook a2, a4, g6, waiting move, rook to b3, rook b2, attacking the bishop, bishop to c2, and now rook takes b4, king to d1, rook takes h4, king to e2, and now rook h2 check, king to d3, rook takes c2, and the game very much ends here for the white pieces as I get to queen. And here a very fancy mate was played, g2, king to f2, h2, king to f3, knight g1 to knight check, king to e3, and queen to e2 mate. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I hope you learned something. Again, my advice is to just play chess, read more books, more theory. I'll keep doing that and I wish you enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon and see you in the next video. Ciao. Bye guys. I also reminder I'll be playing a tournament and I'll record those games. In Labo I'll try to what's you call this? I'll record myself while playing the games so I can show you guys the video. That is all and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.